What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is Heart DFS, and today we have an updated version of the NBA slate breakdown on Draftkings for the play-in games. If you guys are new to my channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, comment. I do appreciate all the support recently. We're well on our way to 500 subscribers. So once again, thank you guys for all the support. Before I get into it, follow me on Twitter at HeartDFS. We reached the 100 follower mark. Let's get to 200. Really want to start engaging with you guys more. And if you guys haven't seen for today, Paul George has been ruled out. Groundbreaking news. Really changes the whole slate. So I wanted to make an updated version of today's games with the news that Paul George is out. Once again, Paul George out. So once again, as I said from yesterday, this Atlanta-Cleveland game is going to be even more popular, especially for you guys like Trae Young, Darius Garland. Who else we got in here? Bogdanovich, Mobley. All these guys are probably going to be 60, 70. Trae and Garland might be 80, 90% owned just because there's really no other spend-ups besides the Pelican guys and the two at the top for Atlanta and Cleveland. But with this game, as I mentioned, I still really like Trae, really like Darius, love Bogdan. And then when it comes to the big man, I don't mind getting to Jared Allen over Capella and Mobley. I think Jared Allen is going to have the lowest amount of ownership when it comes to Capella and Mobley, just because we still don't have news on whether he's going to play full minutes, if they're going to try to limit him. But I do personally think they are going to run him full minutes, which is why I really like him in the spot. His price is really up there, but he's a guy who's averaging 16 and 10, has huge block upside, can get you steals, as you can see. His game log, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3 blocks, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 3. So this is a guy I do really like. Think he sees at least 35 minutes. I do think they're giving him full run. So I'm going to take that risk. Now, it is risky, as I'm saying, but since he's priced higher than Mobley and Capella, I do think he's going to have a lot less lower ownership compared to them, and he could really help out in tournament settings. So I do really like Jared Allen at 7,500. And it'd be a good pairing with Darius Garland, because if Darius Garland's doing well, getting a bunch of assists, Jared Allen should be the one doing the pick and rolls mostly with him. So I do really like Jared Allen in the spot. Love Kevin Love as well off the bench. He's really thrived in that position against the Hawks. I'm not really high in Capella today at 7,200. I know a lot of people are. He's been doing well, but I just think with Jared Allen and Mobley back, it really limits Capella's ability to do well offensively and defensively. So I'm going to take a hard fade on Capella today. Do really like Mobley still at 6,800. He's had past success against the Hawks, and he's going to play close to 40 minutes. So I do really like him. Karis LeVert's more of a secondary play. Laurie wouldn't go there. And then one of the three wings for the Hawks, I still really like Hunter out of all three of them just because he's defensive minded. He can shoot the ball as well. Gallinari is probably the best scorer. He's had some good games, shot the ball well. He's probably going to be the most popular out of the three. That's why I would go to Hunter. Still really like him at 5,100. And then Rajon Rondo's a guy who is great value, 3,400. He should see, I'd say safe would be 15 minutes. As we saw against Brooklyn, they were struggling, so they really needed his leadership off the bench. He played 26, got you 23 fantasy points. Price didn't move. I'd still think at least 15 minutes will be guaranteed for Rondo. Maybe not 26, but it's still one of those where you take a shot on him, because even if he gets 15 minutes, he still can get you there in that amount of time. And anything over that is, just extra beneficial for you. And yeah, that really does it for me on this side. Now to the Pelicans-Clippers game. Paul George is out, as I said, for the fifth time, so that's huge news. You're going to want to get in a guy like Reggie Jackson. It's going to be a little hard, especially if you try to get Clay and Darius. But Reggie Jackson, as we can see right here, has averaged about 17, 5, and 4 without Paul George this season. And if we look at his game log, I think Paul George was back for these last 4 or 5 games. So if we look from February 25th or not February, March 25th and down, we can just see the game logs of Reggie Jackson and what he's done without Paul George. He was great. 11, 14, 7, okay. But then before that, 23, 15, 24, 31, 5, 10, 36, 17. He was basically averaging 19, 6 assists, 4 rebounds with Paul George being out. Reggie Jackson was playing close to 40 minutes, 40, 40, 40, 35, 38, 38, 40. So this is going to be a spot where you're really going to want to play Reggie Jackson. Great play at 6,100. There is a little bit of a blowout risk, I would say, this game now, just because of Paul George being the whole team. Would have kept the Clippers in it. And so now I do say there is definitely blowout risk with this game, but you don't want to bank on that. So still really love Brandon Ingram. His price is 7,800. CJ, do really like him at 8,900. I'd say he's maybe a tad more safe compared to Brandon Ingram, but Brandon Ingram's price is too good to get away from. Really like him at 7,800. I'm going to take the fade on Valanciunas as well at 8K. I think he's just a lot more risky. Now with Paul George being out, clips are going to go really small. I mean, that does favor Valanciunas, but it's one of those where maybe he just kind of gets washed out of this game because, both sides decide to go small. It's a risk, so if you're going to take Valanciunas, he'll probably be lower owned, but I don't think I'm going to get there. I'd rather get to CJ and then Brandon Ingram. And then guys like Powell really come into play at 5,300. Let me take some of these guys out just so we can look at everyone. But as I mentioned, let me go through the Pelicans guys real fast. Sorry. CJ, love him. I mean, my first play would be Brandon Ingram on the side, then CJ. J-Val, I'm going to fade, but he's definitely worth taking a look at. He's going to be a lot lower owned. Definitely a nice tournament kind of like dart throwish play. Herb Jones, love him, 4,800. Should see, at least 30 minutes. He's a guy who stuffs the stat sheet with steals and blocks. Can get you some boards, assists. Can hit the three a little bit, so I don't mind him at 4,800. I'd rather get to him than a guy like Herter or Gallinari. He's kind of like a better version of DeAndre Hunter right now. I don't think I'd get to anyone else on the the Pelican side, but on the Clipper side, they're going to run Reggie Jackson, Zubac, probably start Powell, Marcus Morris Sr., and then Batum. Out of that starting five, I think Reggie Jackson and Powell are going to both see 35 minutes. So they're going to be two guys you really want in your lineups because if this game stays close, it's because of those two guys scoring. You have to keep an eye out on Luke Kennard because if he's playing, he's probably going to see at least 30 minutes. They're going to need some scoring off the bench. 5,200 for him is not bad. He's a little scoring dependent, so you don't really have to get there if you don't want. I don't expect him to come in and shoot the ball like 20 times, but he could see at least 30 minutes, shoot the ball maybe 12 times. And if he's hitting his shots, he can get you some rebounds and assists, so I don't mind that. Marcus Morris just definitely becomes a little bit more viable. Should see at least 35 minutes if he doesn't get ejected or technical fouls. So, don't mind getting there at 5K. It is sometimes score independent, but definitely worth loading up on some of these Clipper guys to hope the game stays close. Covington should see at least into the mid-20s minutes wise, maybe more. He can shoot the three. He's a guy that does stuff the stat sheet if he plays, so I don't mind getting to him at 4,500. Maybe a guy like Coffee or Terrence Mann sneaks into the lineup. I know Mann got 15 minutes. Maybe he'll get extended into the mid-20s just because of Paul George. So he's another value play that you can jam in there at 4,100. Don't mind him. But my favorite plays on this side are obviously Reggie Jackson, Powell, and then I would probably say Morris, Covington, and Mann are the secondary plays I'd look to. But for right now, that Paul George news is huge. Definitely blowout risk in this game now. But you're going to want to get a guy like Reggie Jackson in there and at least Norman Powell from that Clipper side. And then I'd say Darius Garland. Yeah, so I'd say my core right now is Reggie Jackson, Powell, Darius Garland, Bogdan, and Brandon. This is kind of the route I'm looking for my core as of right now. Maybe switch a few things around. I would love to try to get Trey in there just because he's such a high usage guy. A little expensive, so it's going to be hard with all these guards to get guys like Rondo in there, Trey, Darius Garland, Jackson, and Powell. But that's the finding how to get the most of those guys, the most optimal of those guys in the lineup is the key for tonight. It's probably going to win you all the money, especially if this game between the Pelicans and Clippers stays close. But this is kind of the route I'm leading towards with that Paul George news. And yeah, I'll have the price pick videos out after this one in about 30 minutes. So if you could like, subscribe, comment, do appreciate all the support. And I'll see you guys in that price pick video later today. Thank you guys. Peace.